Hey guys, what's going on? True follower here. True follower, you see what I got hanging back there on my wall. That should give you a good enough reason to understand what I picked, my name, true follower. But anyway, um, I was just watching a video by N underscore ORTE, I think. He's a YouTuber. Uh, does a lot of stuff about Fallout. And he was talking about the mysterious stranger. That's some things another thing I was touching on. A mysterious stranger, okay, wears like the same fedora and the same trench coat, pretty much almost looking identical to the Vault Tech guy that rings your doorbell in Fallout 4 when you decide to name your character and set your special stats or whatever points for your character when you first start Fallout 4. So, okay, you got the Enclave as the shadow government, basically, I'm not going to go too political, my real views in real life, but anyways, you got one side as the shadow government, you got another side that's actual government. And the people who were like the shadow government were basically pulling the strings in the, probably in the 2050s, from could be the 2030s to the 2040s and the 2050s, somewhere through there is probably when the Enclave organization started. A good 10 to 20 years before the Great War and before these other things started with the new plague I think it's before the new plague, but anyway, and all that stuff started before. It was a downhill cataclysm it had already started before the Great War ever took place. Way before that, the Enclave existed at least a good 20 to maybe even 30 years before the Great War. I would say at least 30, maybe a little bit more than 30 years. So if we go, let's say we go 2035, somewhere in there. Let's say that's when Enclave people started becoming Enclave or whatever. And Vault Tech, I believe Vault Tech is the scapegoat. I think Vault Tech is the corporation that the Enclave wants to blame things on, okay? Because I was sitting here thinking about that the other day, because on the bombs, there's like the one in Megaton. If you look closely, it has the Vault Tech symbol on it. Well, if the Enclave is a shadow government and they're the ones setting things up and they're the ones who secretly are paying Vault Tech out of their pocket, which they're probably scamming the money of the tax dollars to begin with from the people. But anyway, to pay for the whole campaign thing of, I guess I'm using the word campaign, to set up all this stuff. Let's build all these vaults, Project Safe House, whatever. And they do that. They probably started building these vaults not long after the Enclave started. So Vault Tech got pulled in, one of the top companies that got pulled in, like Poseidon Energy and like a bunch of the other ones were like people that came in later. Vault Tech would have been with the Enclave way in the beginning, I would think. And it makes sense because how many years does it take to build that many vaults in that many different locations across the entire United States? That would take some time. If we tried to do something like that in real life, it would take a lot of money, a lot of time to build the vaults to the size and stature of how these vaults are built. Most of them are kind of got pretty close to the same layout. Usually they got a big atrium, they got to have all these different rooms for the planning area. Not every vault's going to be the same, but they're using the same assets, the same designs, I would say. That Vault Tech designs this, and they craft and build the vault pieces piece by piece, and they go into the cave or whatever, and they build all this stuff. So my point is the Enclave are the people setting things up. Well, I think some high-ups of the Vault Tech company knew what they were getting themselves into, but all the other everyday average Joe people that were part of the the engineers to some of the scientists to some of the guards of Vault-Tec, they were all placed like on wage benefits to do their job. They probably didn't know the actual outcome of what the actual Enclave was really truly planning. And the people that are the high ups in Vault-Tec, they probably knew. So they already. Vault-Tec is a company that's probably connected with Mr. House and a lot of the other millionaires and rich people across the United States. So somewhere in there, they had to have known that there's a chance that they're being stooged to do all these things and they might be getting left out. So they made sure that they had a backup contingency plan as well in case the Enclave does something they're not supposed to. And I think, excuse me, the other secret society group, it only had like 3 people in it. I can't pronounce it, but and 2 of those people got killed. Combs, Combs, he was killed, and the other person was killed, and then the other person was a double agent, and they were working with the Enclave. And then there was one guy, the main dude that started that little organization. He just disappeared. Nobody ever heard from him again. So I'm thinking that guy's still alive somewhere. And if these bunkers, some of these hidden bunkers that were supposed to be for Enclave, was discovered by him, and that's something we don't know about yet, because he's not been able to say anything because he's not been in the game yet. He could have went to one of those and locked it down, and then it had a cryogenic deal, and he got in there and froze himself, so he could pop back into the story anytime if he's been frozen. So, but I'm just thinking, but back to the mysterious stranger and having different mysterious strangers, I believe those are time jumpers. Vault-Tec has maybe some kind of time machine technology that they also developed. So that they had their own money. And the Enclave wanted to probably use some kind of deal so that way they can use that time machine as a backup plan as well. So they probably know it exists, but they don't have clearance to get in it. They don't have clearance to get to it. They don't even know where it's at technically, because it's a place. There's a certain particular place that you would have to get to and have access to be pulled in there, and then you can actually jump time. But they probably got it set to where you can only jump back so far from wherever their time is. Whatever time frame they're in, they can only jump for that far. But anyways, I'll have to get back to you guys. True Follower, out.